Here's a look at 35 most disturbing things caught on doorbell footage. Get ready to witness the unexpected lurking right at your doorstep. This guy is napping outside in front of a pool when the most unexpected visitor shows up. A bear casually walks into the frame. It seems to be thirsty and heads straight for the swimming pool and tries to drink a bit of water from the pool. When it notices the water isn't great, it turns around and heads towards the napping man. When it gets to the man, the outcome is rather surprising. The bear nudges the napping man, and when he finally wakes up, the bear runs away from the yard, leaving the man amazed, scared, and surprised. This male woman was doing her daily duty and delivering mails to each house. At this particular house, she dropped the mail into the mailbox and was set to go back. As she walked down the aisle of the house, it all looked normal, but something was about to happen. She took a bend to move to her next location when the most unexpected thing unfolded before her eyes. The tree that was just a few distances from her gave way and started falling. The male woman was shocked as she shifted back in fear. Just a few more minutes and she would have been a casualty. This lady was back home at the end of the day. She casually opened her door, got inside, and locked it from inside. Then something scary happened. Two strange men walked up to her door and tried to open it, but thankfully, they could not because she had already locked it on the inside. The lady noticed that her door was being manhandled and screamed. This unsettled the two men. The lady threatened to call the police if they did not leave. This was enough to send the two men running as they disappeared into the night. It's not clear what the men were trying to do, but it definitely wasn't good. It's a rather awkward scene at this doorbell cam where two women are standing in front and making quite a scene. They seem to know the owner of the house, and so they put their faces close to the doorbell cam and begin to do the weirdest stuff ever.
Hey, Steven! Little's in! Steven!
They call out his name repeatedly and ask him to let them in. They do this for a few seconds and then suddenly stop. Then they turn to face the door, and surprisingly, the door opens, and Steven lets them in while they all laugh at the little awkward display they had just put on outside. It's a happy day, and this dog is just having a great time basking in the sun when the most ridiculous thing happens. Out of the blues, a deer gallops towards the house and leaps over the dog to get past. It ends up in front of the house and sniffs around a bit. The dog, on the other hand, is just watching quietly, wondering what in the world the deer was doing there. After a while, the deer just suddenly turns around and leaps on out of the yard and out of the doorbell cam's frame, leaving the poor dog at loss of what just happened. In this rather scary video, this lady comes back home at night and is trying to get indoor. She is most likely tired and not conscious of her immediate environment. She unlocks her door very quickly and gets inside the house, locking the door behind her. In that instance, something scary happens. A strange figure just steps into the frame of the doorbell cam. It is clear he was already stalking this lady prior to this time. He takes a peek at the door and realizes that it has been shut. Without wasting any time, he just turns back and goes away. In a rather shocking video, this family of grizzly bears are caught on a doorbell cam, inspecting this house like they are there to buy it. You won't believe this if you never saw it. One of the bears comes closer to the doorbell cam to do some inspection before strolling over to a chair. The next activity is even more hilarious. The second bear takes some caution as he steps onto the wooden porch. He moves gradually to join the other bear next to the chair. Then he changes his mind. He walks off, leaving the house. It's a rather surprising and fascinating scene. This little bee seems to be offended and is taking it out on the offender. But what's amazing is who the offender is. The camera seems to have done something wrong to the bee. Maybe it took a picture of it without its permission, and now the bee has decided to show that hell hath no fury than a bee's scorn. The bee attacks the camera rapidly without showing any signs of stopping. The camera remains unfazed and isn't even planning to say sorry. Rumor has it that the fight between the bee and the camera may just still be ongoing right now. This is a rather alarming one as two animals come into the frame of the camera, fighting. You would not believe what animals they are. It's a wrestling match between a wild coyote and a house cat. The coyote clearly has the upper hand here, but this cat is giving one hell of a fight back. The coyote is trying different angles to get at this cat that's now hiding under a table, but is unable to. After a few moments, the cat decides to climb to safety when something crazy happens. The coyote grabs the cat from behind, but the cat responds with its claws, which leaves the coyote in pain. At the end, the coyote gives up as the cat is high up on the roof and untouchable. It's a rather wild scene in front of this door cam. This dog has gone wild and out of control and is barking at a woman that has her baby in a trolley. The owners of the dog try repeatedly to calm the dog down, but it doesn't really work out. The dog keeps trying again and again to get at the woman, but the woman continually uses the swings of the trolley to keep a distance between herself and the dog. Finally, the owners of the dog are able to get it under control. They apologize to the woman and then leave the scene. It's a great night until this doorbell footage shows something dark. This man walks towards a car, and from the way he looks, there is no need explaining who he is and what he is trying to do. He is a thief who is trying to hijack cars in the area. He walks up to this car, and he tries to see if it is open, but finds out it is locked. He leaves the car and heads down the street to try find another car that might be more easy to jack. Unfortunately, news has it that he found one and stole that car while its owners were sleeping. The owners of this car are really lucky because such persons always know how to have their ways with cars. This lady is standing outside her house discussing with somebody when her doorbell camera catches the most amazing and scary footage.
Oh my God, get back!
She suddenly gets hyper and begins to scream, "Get back!" as she runs towards a side of the house. There is no clear view as what or whoever C is speaking to is not within the frame. But it doesn't take long to know.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Suddenly, her dog is seen falling to the ground. She quickly catches the dog. The dog must have fallen out of the high window, and if not for the quick reflexes of the owner, let's just say it would have been a serious tragedy. This footage isn't one that keeps its surprise away. From the get-go, you can see what is happening.
Hey! Hey, your house is on fire!
This house is on fire, and these two good Samaritans are trying to get the owner's attention. The fire looks really small at the moment, but it could quickly get out of hand. After a few moments knocking, the homeowner opens and sees the fire. But before she could even do anything, the story takes a turn we never expected.
What's your name?
I keep that with you.
We saw it as we were trying to Oh my God!
Another good Samaritan springs up from nowhere with a water hose and quenches the fire immediately. The homeowner is so grateful for the quick intervention of these kind people and thank them. This little boy is about to do something bad, but the camera covers it all. The boy walks into this porch and sees a scooter. It seems he already knew it was there and had a plan to get it. He tries to take it, but he is distracted by some sound that makes him freak out and runs away. After a while, it's all quiet, and you would think that this was the end of this story, but there is more. The boy returns and actually takes the scooter away without any interference. He quietly sneaks out and goes on like he owned the scooter all along. It's a rather quiet night until a car stops in front of this house. A lady stops and walks up to the porch of this house. What she does next is just amazing. She immediately starts vandalizing the porch and destroying everything she could lay her hands on. As she destroys, she cusses and makes terrible remarks. She does this until she is satisfied and walks away. She went back to her car and got in. She starts her car and takes off, leaving the porch in a chaotic state. It is certain the owners would not appreciate this gesture. This video starts rather innocently, but is about to take a pretty dark spin. A puppy is running around happily, and its owner is trying to get it back inside. Unknown to both dog and owner, someone is planning some sinister stuff just across the lawn.
Bruno, get over here, Bruno.
Suddenly, there is repeated gunshots. Someone was trying to shoot at the dog, but you would not believe what happened instead. The person mistakenly shoots her own child instead of the dog. You can hear the child crying in the footage. The dog owner just runs back inside and calls his dog to follow. A lot is not clear about why a woman who doesn't have a strong grip of the gun in the first place is using it, and why she is using it on a dog. This delivery man was doing his job diligently well when this happened. Well, he put his rear in the wrong place, and boy, did that hurt.
Oh my God, no. Oh no, what the hell?
He rang on the bell of the house, and the owner came out to discover that his ornamental plant had placed some ornaments in the wrong place. The owner apologized to the delivery man, but there really wasn't much that he could do. You could definitely see the poor soul nursing his rear in pain. But the deed was done, and he would have to manage now. The delivery man was definitely going to live with that pain for some days. Sorry, bro.
Oh God, sorry. Oh.
This rather bizarre and disturbing scene took place in Charlotte. It's a rainy night, and it's just drizzling. These suspects work up to a house and begin to check it out. They walk around the house looking for what we don't know, and after some time perusing around the house, they decide that it is best to just leave. The doorbell cam shows them clearly walking down the streets. Suddenly, one of them decides he didn't have enough of the house. He comes back and something weird and funny happens. He tries to shoot at the house and falls down in the process. It's a quiet night, and this doorbell cam is taking in the scenery until these two hooded fellows walk towards this house. At first, it's not clear while they are there until something happens. One of them brings out a gun and the other joins him with a weapon. They start knocking on the door and calling on the occupants to come out. There is no response from within. They knock repeatedly and more impatiently as no reply comes from within. When the whole thing gets tiring, these armed guys turn around and just leave, disappointed, of course.
Yo, Kevin! Come on, bro.
What's a night of fun fair is about to get ultimately dark and evil. A lady in a white car steps out of her car at night and begins to move about. Unknown to them, she is about to scar everyone present forever. She walks up to a woman in the place and does the most unexpected and evil thing. She pulls out a gun and shoots the woman in the head, killing her on the spot. Of course, everybody scampers off to safety, while the culprit walks casually into her white car like nothing happened. She later drives off the scene, speeding away. This really disturbing footage will leave you thinking. In this footage, these armed thugs are clearly trying to do something in this house. One of them comes at the door and then steps out of the way.
Video that shows a group of robbery suspects forcing a homeowner.
What is shown next is the most shocking thing.
Front door at gunpoint. Police say the North Carolina homeowner was approached by 5 armed men.
You would have thought they were trying to break the door. But the owner is right there and they are trying to force him to open the door to his own house so they could rob him. The footage shows the man is already bleeding as he has been hit on the head by these terrible people.
Head with a gun, money, a cell phone, and unspecified drugs were taken from the home. Police are using this video to help find the robber.
They take all valuables from the man and some more things from his house. In a rather hilarious doorbell cam footage, this dog is playing around the door and having fun all by himself. At the height of the fun, the dog takes an action that would alter his activity for the RWT of the video. He mistakenly hits the bell and is taken aback by the sound. He freezes for a while, and then knowing what that sound usually entails, his conditioning sets in. The dog abandons his playtime and turns around immediately, trying to figure out what visitor just hit the bell. The dog stands there amazed there is no one. What's supposed to be a quiet afternoon is about to take on another dimension. These 2 men were standing in front of a porch when suddenly a car drives past and the weirdest thing happens. Someone from inside the cat starts shooting at the person on the porch. Another person comes out of the car and tries to get a better shot at the man on the porch. But the man on the porch hides away and is unhurt. After a brief moment of shooting, the culprits get back into the car and zoom off. The man on the porch also runs inside the house quickly. This video started out really sweet, but it escalates into darkness in no time. This man came to visit his brother and his wife. He stands at their door and knocks.
Been there. About a year. Really?
After knocking on their doors, he dips his hand into his pockets, and as the door opens, unprecedented evil happens. He brings out a gun and shoots his brother and wife. The couple can be heard screaming. The brother dies immediately while the wife sustained several injuries. The police quickly responded and they were able to get the situation under control. The suspect resisted and was killed after a gunfire. In this video, the man walks out holding his head, and the first question we hear is haunting.
Is he breathing?
He's not breathing. He's dead.
The man is asked if someone was still breathing, and he said no, that the person was dead. When asked why, he explained that they got into an argument. Apparently, he ended up shooting his own son in the head, and the boy died on the spot.
fighting on the way home was unbearable, and we got here and just from one second to the next, he was gonna go to a key.
The man is clearly distraught as he bends to shed a tear. He tells the people he is sorry, but sorry isn't enough at this point. He knows he has done something terrible and is going to jail.
Where's your brother?
Please.
Where's your brother? He's gonna go to jail.
This video is one that gets disturbing the more you think about it.
Here he is, here he is.
This cop was sent to do a wellness check on this suspect. She got to the door, knocked, and went through all the preliminaries. She was waiting for the door to open so she could do what she came for, but something else was brewing on the other side of the door. Immediately, the door opened. The suspect pointed a gun at her and fired, missing slightly. In reflex, docked and responded immediately, hitting the target. The suspect survived and was sentenced to 17 years imprisonment. This man and his wife seem to be having a little argument. She walks over to him on the driver's side of the car to talk to him. But that was a wrong move on her part. Immediately she got there, the whole issue escalated. The man got violent and started pushing his wife to the stairs. The woman objected and screamed out at the man, but he was way too strong and succeeded in restraining her. He fell there, and then he started pulling her into the house by the hair. The woman can be heard screaming and calling for help. This FedEx delivery guy had an amazingly close shave with death. He was at a house apartment trying to deliver some good to a customer. After dropping the goods, he turned and was leaving. That was when it happened. Suddenly, the tree behind him started falling quick and fast. The man was quick to see it and completely get out of the way, avoiding the tree in the process. It was a really close shave. If he had not moved at the time that he did, the police might have had to report a time of death on that faithful day. It was a rather quiet night in Ontario, but the scene this doorbell cam captured that night was nothing short of troubling. It was all quiet and serene until sounds of an over-speeding car was heard some distance away. It wasn't clear what was happening, but the sound was growing louder and louder until this happened. A car ran with very high speed into another car that was parked just beside the road. The crash was so bad, it ruined both cars. Then something followed. After a while, a police vehicle arrived on the scene. That was when the driver of the vehicle came out clearly injured. A woman is standing on the porch of this house at night ringing a doorbell. That's when something really dangerous happens.
Please help me!
A man runs out of the darkness and grabs her. The woman discovers she is being kidnapped and screams for help, but there seems to be no one there to help her. The guys. The man carries her to the front of the house, and then another car comes along and parks in front to carry the kidnapped woman and the suspect away. The suspects are later caught, all thanks to the doorbell cam footage. This man and his neighbor, who is a cop, were having a disagreement. The man came out and tried to settle the issue. However, this cop had other plans. He took his neighbor by the neck and physically assaults him while shit-talking him. The victim is shocked and is wondering why the cop was this violent. The cop held the man down for some time, abusing and threatening him. After a while, he let the man go and walked off still angry.
Yeah, you go ahead. You better run, too. Right. Could run anywhere, mother.
The neighbor didn't understand why the cop was that angry. That cop deserves to be in jail. Doorbell cams are made to capture scenes at the door, and are placed for security reasons. But you would be devastated to discover what this particular door cam captured. The footage shows an explosion in a home area. The explosion was so serious that it took out 3 whole houses and caused major and minor issues in a couple others.
Leveled 3 homes in the neighborhood and damaged a dozen others. 5 people.
The casualty rate was quite high as 5 persons died. 3 were injured while 1 more person was in a critical condition. The cause of the explosion was not clearly ascertained, although many believe it was a gas explosion. It was a casual night party, but it was about to get bloody. Some of the guys at the party were having a misunderstanding, so some of the folks decided to come outside to cool off. However, the matter was about to escalate in a way nobody had thought possible. Out of nowhere, some guys appeared with guns and started shooting. This sent the whole place into a frenzy as everyone scampered for dear life. Some people just found a way to get out, and those who were unlucky were caught inside, trapped in the Ross fire.